I spent my whole damn life in the city. I could go for broke, but the capital is in me. I spent my whole damn life in the city. Anywhere I go, DC's coming with me. I spent my whole damn life in the city. I could go for broke, but the capital is in me. I spent my whole damn life in the city. Anywhere I go, DC's coming with me. I spent my whole damn life in the city. I could go for broke, but the capital is in me.
Welcome, everyone, to District Divided, a DC sports podcast. More specifically, a Washington Commanders podcast. I am Amit. That is K. And today's episode, we've got more number 2 overall pick stuff to get to. We are now officially in April, the month of the draft. Just 3 weeks away from finding out who that pick is going to be. Adam Schefter on his podcast made some comments about Jayden Daniels. So we're going to play that audio for you and react to it. The offseason training program has begun. That is a bit more minor news relative to the draft right now. So we'll get into that after the pod with some comments from Terry McLaurin about Sam Howell and Tress just talking about the new mindset that Dan Quinn is bringing to the organization. Comment Mailbag, as we always do. So before we begin, if you could please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, comment as you always do, and K.
Share this shit. Share it. Share it. Share this shit.
Share this shit, please. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So, once again, the number 2 overall pick. We have been going all over the place. Last episode was about, is JJ McCarthy in play for the Washington Commanders? Then you see the betting line move in favor of Drake Maye to be the number 2 overall pick. And then Adam Schefter on the Adam Schefter podcast said a couple things about the number 2 overall pick. And so we're going to go ahead and play that audio for you here in just a moment, where he begins with Caleb Williams. We're playing that for context, and then you're going to hear stuff about the Commanders and the number 2 overall pick. Why don't you go ahead and take a listen?
What is new in Draftland this week?
Well, here's where I think we start, Dan. We start at the top, and we know that the Bears have traded Justin Fields, and we'll continue to talk about the Bears, but I think we could just pencil Caleb Williams into number 1.
Let's go ahead and do that.
Slot him in there. I know there's been some talk about whether or not he'd be interested in going to Chicago. I don't think that's going to be an issue.
Who gives a shit?
I think the Bears want him, and he's good with the Bears, and they're going to go on and form that relationship, which brings us to Washington. I know we're not supposed to spoil picks. We'll see how the Commanders decide to move forward with the number 2 overall selection, but a little over a few weeks out, to me, I think the signs continue to point to Jayden Daniels being the 2nd overall pick at number 2. Seems like he's popular in the scouting community.
Yep.
Seems like he would bring a lot of the attributes that the Commanders
All of
would
them.
like. I think Jayden Daniels would have a high level of interest in the Las Vegas Raiders, and the Las Vegas Raiders would have a high level of interest in Jayden Daniels. But there's one problem. The Commanders have the 2nd pick.
Fuck yeah.
Jayden Daniels is going to be somebody that really appeals to them, as he would a lot of teams, as talented as he is. And it's hard for me today to see Jayden Daniels sliding much past pick number 2. So
Let's go ahead and talk about that audio. So first off, a couple quick things. Tom Pelissero has no clue what he's talking about. Adam Schefter clearly does. So K. Your reaction to the audio that we just played.
So akin to you thinking that Dan Quinn and Adam Peters sharing a laugh might mean something, is what the fuck did you hear in that audio that made you overwhelmingly believe?
Confirmation bias, my friend. That's what it was.
Nothing about the Commanders themselves. Nothing about the Commanders themselves. This is scouting departments around the league believe I don't believe that he might not scoot past number 2. But the only thing that the furthest he went is the not wanting to spoil picks at the beginning of the segment, right? But even that, we're too early for this shit.
He used the pencil for Caleb Williams. He used the pencil for Jayden Daniels. That was the context. All of a sudden, he's penciling him in.
We knew Caleb Williams was number 1 overall pick for 3 years now. Okay,
and he's not even in pen. He's in pencil, just like Jayden to the Commanders.
Look, I'm just saying. There's nothing in the audio that you can look at and say that Adam Schefter knows for sure more than anyone else does what Washington is going to do at number 2.
That is
what
true.
he's going off of is what we kind of expect in the sense of like the way that things look like they're shaking out. But I mean, Adam Schefter was right about the Ben Johnson thing as far from a national level before other people were. And how was he right? Telling everybody to calm down because you don't know what's happening. that's where he was right. But on a local level, there were still reporters here that knew more in the sense of telling people to temper them at those expectations. We on this podcast look at John Keim as a god.
Yes, we do.
What does the God say?
Adam Schefter's right.
Yeah, bullshit. He's saying that, look, now here's the thing. I think Keim is even going too far just to make sure he's safe about it in the sense of he's saying the team doesn't know they're still doing stuff. They're still doing their evaluations. I'm of the idea that usually at this point in time, teams already know where they're going with what it is they're doing. I will say that there's a lot of moving pieces when it comes to Washington since the ownership change, as far as who's here compared to who's not here from the scouting department and where those conversations themselves might lie, right? Adam Peters might have been doing certain draft research last year with San Francisco that now he might be of the idea that it's the same. He might be of the idea that I need to talk to the guys here to figure out where I'm
to
at.
quickly speak to your point and interject, George Kittle, he was scouting when he was with the Broncos, and then all of a sudden he goes to the 49ers. Boom. He's now with them. Go ahead.
Right. So like, there's a matter like, all right, do I need to talk to Cliff Kingsbury to find out, like, am I going to, if I draft X guy, does this not fit what Cliff wants to do at all? So what do I need to take consideration with that? But if from a personality standpoint, the team looks like this one guy really fits what it is they're trying to do, does that supersede the other thing? So like, we don't know what's in their fundamental draft process. We will learn so much about it when they pick gets made, right? But as far as any of this fucking predictive bullshit beforehand, look, it's what you said. It's confirmation, but everybody wants to confirm who it is their favorite guy is the same way that they did with the coaching search, okay?
Yeah.
It's the same shit over and over again. Look, I love Jayden Daniels. Like I said, every single one of these quarterbacks that we can look at number 2, as far as the three that are in the conversation, because we all assume Caleb won't be. We talked about why that is for Chicago, right? There are pros and cons with each of them. It's just a matter of what do you weigh more than other things, right?
Yeah.
I love Jayden Daniels' ability to run. I love the numbers as far as what it looks like when he throws downfield. I love the shit that he can do outside the numbers near the sidelines. Those shit scream. I hate his pressure to sack ratio. It fucking sucks, right? So like, there's so many different elements as far as what goes into this. I think that everyone need you the same way I need everybody else.
What did I do?
I need all of you to get excited about the prospect of any one of these
guys. Okay. So just to be clear, obviously, I'm very excited at the prospect of Jayden Daniels being a Commander because that is what I want. I've been very much. Hold on, one sec. Allow me, please. I have very much been on that train. I have been on that bandwagon. However, you and I are on the same page, K-Dot. Whoever they take it to your point, go get your guy. We have always been on the same page about that. If this front office, coaching staff is aligned on even JJ, okay? There's your soundbite.
There we go.
Okay? If they're aligned on a guy, I do believe in the front office and the coaching staff to be able to nurture the development of this quarterback to make them a very good pro and give us a chance of winning a Super Bowl. That's what we're looking to do. I do believe in the front office. I do believe in the coaching staff. I am just hoping they arrive at the conclusion that is Jayden Daniels. That is where I am at.
Yeah, I get that to a certain degree. Because, like, look, if you put a gun to my head and ask me, who do I want more than anybody else for Washington to pick at number 2?
Would be a hilarious scenario if there actually was a gun to your head. That was the question someone asked.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
What scenario would it have to be?
Right. It's like, I just need you to answer one fucking question.
I'm just saying, the stakes on this podcast and Commanders takes itself just get raised. Like, I think it might, you know what? Rebrand. It's divided under the gun.
Yeah.
A hell of a podcast.
That'd be a good segment, huh?
All your takes by gunpoint.
We actually have 2 questions each for the other, and they're under the gun. They have to answer it. No dancing.
I don't mind it. I like it.
Something to talk about. Go ahead.
I'm of the idea that I like intangibles. That's why I think JJ's creeping up for me. Because like the intangibles pieces of it to me translate better as far as if I still think you have a lot to learn, I need you to have the mindset to learn and to be the best that you can be. That's not saying Jayden doesn't have it. That's not to say Drake Maye does not have that. I just think what I look at as far as the dudes that my favorite athletes in pro sports have a certain type of mindset. And like, I look at JJ is the closest mirror to that. That being said, as far as JJ and what you have on tape, he has the least amount of volume of stuff that I can look at, right? Mm-hmm. Now, do I like what I've seen? Absolutely, as far as especially what translates for those intangibles. But he also can't do certain things the other guys can do, right? He can't throw a ball like Drake Maye. Just can't. Like, Drake Maye's arm's great, but Drake Maye probably scares me more than anybody as far as what it looks like when he first steps on the field. He's got the most amount to learn, in my opinion, right? So, like, that runway is really, really long for Drake Maye as far as where that payoff is. Jayden Daniels, if shit gets bad in Washington and I need somebody to start week 10, Jayden Daniels is absolutely, to the point that you even made last week and the week before, he's the one that I feel safest with starting soonest. Why? Because of his skill set. Because he can make shit. But then when I look at that and I compare it to his pressure to sack ratio, I'm like, it kind of scares me. Especially since the more we talk about that number, the more you start realizing it's the one thing you can look as a true through line. It doesn't usually get better. Like the same thing we talked about with Sam Howell and hoping that it was going to get better. It doesn't usually. Whatever it is you did in college is usually what you're going to do regardless. There are a lot of variables in it, but typically it stays the same. There are some exceptions to the rule. I know Lamar Jackson's last year in college, it was a little higher because he lost a guys, as far as on the team's standpoint. But then as soon as he gets back to the league, it goes right back to where it was before that year. Okay. So, like, once again, there's just a lot to like about all these guys. There's a lot to be really, 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 really excited for.
Certainly.
Don't get tunnel vision.
Tunnel vision. There are a lot of variables at play. It's clearly a difficult pick to nail. It happens all the time. Some teams get more swings than others at this thing, and they just never get it right. Like, and others do, depending on culture. Like, again, we talk about that. So we'll see what happens. There's still a few weeks to go. We're going to have our mock drafts for you guys, Tony. I've not forgotten about that. We're going to go ahead and do that. And we got the live stream to look forward to, man. So there's a lot of exciting stuff up ahead. It was confirmation bias. I was excited to bring it up on this pod, and
I'm just already looking to the future. I don't need the 3 fucking episodes after the draft to be, let's help Amit be okay with the pick. Like, I don't want this. I don't need
it's possible
to
we would need that.
It's the same thing like the Dan Quinn stuff. Like, I
will be on board. I will be on board. Okay.
Yeah, but see, it's like, then we get into this fake it till you make it energy. Where it's now like, I know you're bullshitting because you've got to fake it like you're.
And you guys can tell me how I'm doing. All right. So,
but I think it's for you guys too, the fans, you guys watching right here. It's for all of us. I'm not saying
it's very real, by the way.
I'm not saying this. Look, JJ's my guy. I think the likelihood that he gets picked number 2 overall is slim to none.
JJ's your guy?
Overall, I told you as far as the intangible stuff goes.
So you're rooting for JJ McCarthy to be. Yeah, in terms of the intangibles, but overall, he's your number one guy.
Gun is to my head, and I have to make a move. That's where I'm going. And
okay.
But there's so many things to really, truly adore about each of these prospects.
I agree.
It's not until I get to Bo Nix and Michael Penix where I'm like, these guys could be great. Who fucking knows? But at the end of the day, those are the only 2 guys.
And on that subject, actually, K-Dot, I love Michael Penix to the point where I would take him over JJ. I would take him over Drake Maye even. Like, so, but there are a lot of variables, but he's got the ACL tears, but he passes physical. Like, there are all sorts of crazy variables, but then you see him throw a ball, you're like, God, he's so accurate. Like, so, and his pressure to sack ratio, lowest of the lot. Maneuver. So lots of variables. We'll see what happens over there. Any final thoughts before we go to the comment mailbag? And then after the pod where we talk about Terry, Tress, the boys.
I just calm down, people. Or you know what? Don't calm down. When people tell me negative things about JJ McCarthy, you included, you know what it screams out to me?
What?
You haven't watched the tape. Like it's like literally that's it. You just haven't watched the tape, which I think is true for you. You watched him in the playoffs. You didn't like what you saw, and you never went back.
You're right.
Like, thank you. Like, everyone that has something negative to say about JJ just didn't watch him. The people that the ones that usually get ham-fisted as far as having their one guy are the ones that just haven't done enough digging. So I'm saying if there's any homework for anyone, you included,
Yeah.
it's look at more tape.
I'll look at the tape. I'll look at the tape of JJ. We could talk about this next week. Okay. I will look. I promise you that I will look over the JJ tape and I will give you my honest take on the guy. Okay.
Cool.
So we'll do that next week. District Divided under the gun. We go over to the comment mailbag where we've got maybe 10 comments or so on 2 different videos, actually. But we're going to go ahead and begin with the latest video, which was the JJ McCarthy in play to the Commanders at pick 2. Beginning with Earl Bruce. Shout out Earl Bruce. This has been the best offseason since Beathard in the 1980s. Peters has greatly reduced the number of team needs. Loaded with 9 picks, the draft is essential to laying a solid foundation. The Snyder stench is gone, and fans are talking about football matters. It feels great to have a normal franchise. Thank you very much for the comment there, Earl Bruce. I agree with most of it. I'm not sure the Snyder stench is completely gone, but I will say that it has been an awesome offseason. I think, K-Dot, when you and I have both looked at the offseason, the most excited you've been is when we got Joe Gibbs back. But short of that, that was still, 18 years ago now or something like that? Like something crazy. No, even before, actually.
No, it's more than it's 21.
Yeah, something crazy. So it's been a while.
Yeah, man. It's look, I won't be able to fully I'm not gonna review an off season until it's over. I will say that they're doing, as I've said time and time again, every single thing I've wanted them to do. They've done this off season. But I did get an alert on my Facebook, like the memory thing, like memories on this day, such and such, how many years ago? Donovan McFucking-Nab, hell to the freaking Redskins. Come get some. I felt pretty high about it.
Oh, I did too. I have that on my Facebook. Like, thank you for giving us the division. I was so hyped when we got Donovan McNabb, but that's what we were conditioned to do.
Well, to a certain degree, but there is a level of like there was a time period in which we were like, okay, maybe this is the thing. Maybe this is the one. Like even the Albert Hainsworth signing. Remember the way that we sold it? It was, okay, Dan's not paying for a guy that's over the hill. He's paying for a guy that's in his prime. It's different. It's going to work this time. And then what happens? It's the worst free agency signing in the history of free agency.
I know.
Signing. So look, I love everything they're doing, but I'm looking for them to prove me right. So I'm excited about it, but I won't have a review until I see what the team looks like.
Yeah, fair enough. You know what I realized I need to do? And I can nail pick 2 overall, K-Dot, because when I was in India with my grandmother, I was seeing the board clearly via the comment mailbag when you were dropping those solo episodes, which were great, by the way.
Thank you.
But I knew. I saw the games and I was like, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. Won a solid 2-0 while I was over there. I just took a step back to see clearer.
Fly your ass to India before the fucking.
You want to nail the pick? Yeah, maybe we should. We go over to Tony. Shout out, Tony. We got 4 clapping emojis to start this thing off. What a show, guys. I felt like I had a cocaine-induced alter ego. A-Train sobered up, and Reverend K-Dot showed up talking his Jonathan James McCarthy bullshit. That guy is Daniel Jones. Is that what you want? Thank you, Tony. There's a bit more. Also, I forgot to ask for y'all thoughts on a retired former New York Giants running back comments about another former Giants running back that is still actively playing. Wonder who he could be talking about over there. So first off, Tony, I'm going to go ahead and declare that comment of the day before we even get to other ones, because that's just spot on. I mean, it's spot on. I don't know what the Reverend K-Dot was on last week, and A-Train did, in fact, sober up. That's growth right there. Is that what you want, K-Dot? You want the next Daniel Jones? That's the first question.
I'd say that if you're gonna give me the title of Reverend, then you got to know that you need to believe in the gospel of JJ McCarthy. You got to understand that it's the word. It's not my opinion. It's the word. Okay, it comes from a higher power, and I think that everybody needs to realize that JJ is unlike Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones looks lost in the sauce every time you see him. He looks like Eli Manning. You know, I was about to say, I was about to get my Shane Gillis bag. Stop myself.
Hey, love
he ain't that.
Shane.
That's all I'm saying. He ain't that. JJ's a dog, and you gotta believe the word, the gospel of JJ. Okay. Otherwise, the other motherfucker that he talked about, Tiki Barber's a bitch.
I agree.
He's just a bitch. Like, I'm sorry. You can look at his entire history of doing shit. There's a reason. He's an identical fucking twin. And Rondé Barber is 20 times the man that his identical twin is. And you can look at all the fucking differences. You can look at the shit on the field, off the field, regardless. He's been a bitch for a minute. Back when he was on the Giants team, look at all the shit he was doing as far as throwing his teammates under the bus before he got the gig, and before he didn't win the Super Bowl, before he got kicked off the Today Show, and before Michael Strahan had the career that he wishes he had. Fuck off, Tiki.
It
This
also
whole
must.
revisionist history bullshit that he's doing in New York. I'm the New York guy. Fuck off.
It's also got to be noted that the moment he left the Giants, they won the Super Bowl. It was literally the next year, which speaks to potentially a toxic culture. You know, I mean, sometimes it can be that kind of stuff of just getting rid of, and I'm sure that's how Bills fans are coping right now with trading Stephon Diggs over to the Houston Texans. That's an interesting one. Maybe we can get into that after the pod as well, but I don't know. Diggs a guy. But real quick, on the subject of the Giants running back, Tiki Barber, and Giants running back, now Eagles running back, Saquon Barkley. I'm on Saquon's side of things.
100%.
I agree with you. Tiki comes across as very salty. Seems like he was even like Saquon called him out, was like, yo, you were not, like, he started calling out behavior, stuff like that. So we're on the same page there, Kate. Just wanted to agree with you on the record. We go over to Res 1966 or RES. It's in all caps, 1966. Shout out. Love this podcast. The hard-nosed fucking banter. And this shit is right down my alley. K-Dot, you're a legend in the making. We'll never miss a video again. Thoroughly appreciate that. K-Dot, legend in the making, my friend. High praise for you.
No, that's dope. Those words mean more than you can know. I've been going through a bit of a rough patch personally. That makes me feel great. Even though doing these podcasts is sort of an out-of-body experience, I'm kind of disassociating right now. So, like, there is a moment where I'm like, all right, this is dope. It's really, really awesome to hear. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, that's how you become a legend. Sometimes you just need to dissociate a little bit.
You just got to make sure that you follow the good word of JJ.
K-Dot does what it takes. I just heard that last part you said, so I disagree with that. But K-Dot does what it takes.
Same energy, man. It's,
No.
I'm speaking in tongues, the JJ tongues. You know, it's just.
Well, this is another comment. So appreciate the comment there, Res 1966. Really appreciate the love. And then we go over to Michael Miller, 8418. Shout out. The fact everyone is all into this one-hit wonder, Jayden Daniels. He spent 5 years in school, and we haven't heard anything about him until his senior season. And that should tell you something. Drake Maye is the better all-around quarterback, and he is only 21 and has a cannon of an arm. And at the beginning of this year, he was neck and neck with Caleb Williams for the Heisman, and Jayden Daniels has the best year anyone has had in college football with 2 top 20 NFL wide receivers. That would be Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas, who are both projected to be first-round picks. And all of a sudden, he's a better option than Drake Maye? People are crazy. That's the comment from Michael Miller. Appreciate the comment, because I do think that a lot of people also feel that way about Jayden Daniels, which is that he suddenly burst onto the scene. What about the 4 years before that? Spent some time in Arizona State. Then he was with LSU. Some people have that, K-Dot. Some people do believe that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say that Jayden was off the map. Maybe off the map from a national. Like, look, I'm not the biggest college football guy, but yeah, it's like I've known enough about Jayden Daniels, and look, what you say is a negative, I could spin as a positive and really believe it, in the sense of, like, when we talk about here on the pod that we want guys that to sit necessarily to learn more. Jayden's had a lot of experience, and that to me counts for something. It's not, did you just have experience, is did you get better every year that you were playing? Yeah, he did. He got better. Are there definitely things that he need to work on in his game? Absolutely. But Drake Maye is the easiest to translate as far as what we all think when we prototypically look at what makes a great quarterback, right? The size, his arm, things like that. But then there's the other way where I can look at it and be like, hey, he's a less athletic Sam Howell with a better arm and makes worse decisions. So, like, how do you want to spin it?
Right. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I also veer on the side of, and I think that there is more and more evidence coming out that when you get the larger sample size, that is more indicative of how they're going to be in the league. I also like that he improved every year.
Right.
Because it, to me, shows that he is taking the time to figure out, hey, where can I get better? Where can I be a better teammate? Like, all the little things. I think Jayden does a good job of. He knows how to put on weight. Like, I think he knows how to do all that stuff. So that is a big reason. The ball placement, the rushing is third for me. It's the ball placement, the improvements that he continued to make. Those are the reasons I really like him. And the rushing, of course, is awesome as well. But those are the reasons I like him. So we'll see what happens.
No doubt.
We go.
And it's the other thing. It's like he
Yeah.
didn't hit the transfer portal and go somewhere easier with LSU. Like it's,
played in the
I mean,
SEC,
it's not.
like,
Although
insane,
JJ
man.
McCarthy did have the hardest schedule.
I'll review the film. We go over to Blood Clot. Shout out Blood Clot, another OG. I hope we don't trade up for Caleb. I'm really looking forward to rejuvenating this roster with 6 picks in the top 100 with Adam Peters. I'm with you, K-Dot. I'd be happy with Jayden, Maye, JJ, and Caleb if he falls to number 2. Whatever Adam likes, as long as we don't trade up. Blood Clot, I am with you. That's so long as these guys agree on somebody and pick them, I'm with it. I'll probably have a few moments of bitching just because of my own personal preferences, depending on who it is, but I'm with it. I just want to be abundantly clear here. Go ahead, K-Dot.
I just
More
want
love
y'all
for
to
you.
see what he just did. He the comment says, "I'm with you, K-Dot." Amit couldn't give me the credit for that. He had to say I was Blood Clot.
No, I think you did a
My
better job
proxy-
articulating the point last week.
Okay, great. Yeah, man, I'm cool either way. I get because I'm so solidified in where it is and I feel secure in that number 2 pick is where I'd say that I don't want to give up the draft stock if we don't have to.
I agree.
Once again, if it was a situation where I thought JJ might fall to 10 or 11, then absolutely I'm with it because I still could get my guy and potentially trading back down. But right now, I don't see a scenario in which you would trade up to go get Caleb because you could be solidified in this. I'd only be looking if they're going to trade back if you still think you can get your guy. And I just think that window's closing.
Okay, but to also counter that point with words you said last week, which is that, hey, if you have your guy, don't risk it. Take your guy. And you would also subscribe to that as well. So
that's what I'm saying. The window is closed. Like if Penix was, if I felt that high on Penix, if I felt Penix was interchangeable with the other 3 guys,
right,
then I could hear
then you
that.
could trade back because you got it.
But once again, giving you credit, you were the first one to tell me JJ's not falling, bud. And I was like, oh, so like, no, I got to get my guy because I'm not going to risk it.
Yeah, exactly. And so you could see both. And that's where actually Ben Robinson, who we'll probably have on before the draft, does a great job because he accumulates all those mock drafts and tells you where they're probably going to go. And he's actually got pretty good accuracy when it comes to that. So you can plan accordingly based off of that data of like, okay, let's say JJ, we're going to go 30, just as an example. That's clearly not happening, but let's say. Well, then you could trade down to 8 and it would still be considered a reach for JJ McCarthy. And you really should have him there. So like sort of that idea as well.
I'm just, part of me is still hoping that like we trade back, everyone here loses their mind. And JJ has like an Aaron Rodgers type fall where it was nothing but make believe hype for everybody. And then the true believers of the word get to have him at 25 with a bunch of other people.
We got JJ at 25 and we've traded back a bunch. Sign me the fuck up, just to be clear. Okay.
Remember the church.
Because then all of a sudden,
the church of JJ.
Oh my gosh. Okay. We go on to AJ STP 003. Shout out. This second pick is now making me nervous. Hoping everything fits and works in tandem. Yeah, as we get closer to it, and appreciate the comment there. As we get closer to the day, anticipation is going to be high. You're going to hear a lot of stuff about a lot of quarterbacks. You're going to hear a lot about trading back. It's going to get very fun from the content standpoint of like, what the heck is going on? The front office has done a magnificent job of being tight-lipped about this whole thing. As much as I want to believe the Schefter stuff, and my brain is telling me believe it, K-Dot's right. You know, they don't know. No one knows. And that is refreshing, ultimately. Okay. Any thoughts there?
I'm ready for this shit to be over. So
I think we all are, frankly. Yeah, just let's get our QB. Let's gas him up and let's go from there. Then we go over to Vindo, another OG. Shout out Vindo. Didn't realize how young JJ is, but I think Maye is their guy. I too don't care who we draft as long as everyone is on board. That's all that matters in the long run, Vindo. Keep preaching, my friend. That is exactly right. So long as they're all on board, let's do this thing. Let's lock and load. Let's get the QB. Let's go. I see the little smile, K-Dot. I see it. Anyway, go over to Clan.
It sounds like there's a lot of members of the church, the church.
Oh, it doesn't get any better for me if we're doing you versus me here, because the next one from the Nathan Perry, actually, we'll go there. KDOT is a hero. Get your guy. There you go. And shout out Ref the District, which Nathan Perry is one of the hosts of. Great program. And he decides to come over here, check in, and goes, man, KDOT's on one right now. He's killing it. So KDOT is a hero. Get your guy. Really appreciate the comment there, Nathan.
The Reverend KDOT, the church is in session, baby.
And then we go to
session.
Clarence Thomas. That JJ McCarthy rant was, and then it's a champagne pop bottle emoji. Loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Was a motherfucker's name Clarence Thomas?
Yeah, but CLARINCE.
Just making sure.
Thomas.
Just
What his name is. Any thoughts on that one?
I just I didn't hear the comment because I heard Clarence Thomas.
The JJ McCarthy rant was, and then it's a pop bottle emoji and like the sweat smile emoji.
As long as you're not the Clarence Thomas, I think you might be.
I believe he is not the Clarence Thomas.
He better not be.
Could you imagine?
Hey, I'd say if you're that Clarence Thomas, turn the shit off. Get the fuck off my podcast. Get the fuck off our podcast, bitch.
Actually,
do your job.
Could you imagine if Clarence Thomas was watching this?
I got so much more I want to say if that's the case.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm with the comment. If you're the other Clarence, I'm with you.
We go over to, and this is a different video. This is the one where we signed Zach Ertz way back. Okay. But managed to find this one from Chuck Pettit, 6550. Shout out. How about the wide receiver that plays with Buffalo and wears number 14 who played for Maryland? This is in direct response to the Bills trading Stephon Diggs for a 2025 second-round pick that they acquired from the Houston Texans. In addition, they also gave, I think, this year's 6th-round pick with Stephon Diggs, as well as next year's 5th or something like that. And so I think what's being said over there in the comment is, why didn't we trade for him? So, K-Dot, I'm sure you have thoughts on it. My very quick thoughts are quite similar to what we talked about last week with L'Jarius Sneed in Jess Anto's comment, which is, I do not want to invest big money in a corner, in a wide receiver, whomever, when right now we are resetting the culture and we are making sure that the building is right. Paying Stephon, now it is a 1-year deal for him, but it makes a lot more sense for him to go to Houston, where he could do that prove-it deal with them, then come over here, be the personality he's perceived to be, no matter how you feel about Stephon, and play with the rookie quarterback. So I think it makes sense what we're doing right now. I don't want Ayuk. I don't want Higgins this offseason. That's where I stand. That's $25 million plus annually for 4 years minimum. I'm not looking to do that this offseason. K-Dot, go ahead.
I think you answered that in the most PC way possible, and I agree with everything you said. I will say that if you're the Buffalo Bills, who are, to everyone's opinions, very close to being in a Super Bowl, they decided to take on $31 million in dead cap to oust a guy who is the true number 1 receiver on the team. I don't want any part of that. I don't know what the details are. I don't know what it is that happened, but the numbers on that alone, and looking where Buffalo was as far as a team, unless they think addition by subtraction in the sense of Patrick Mahomes without a Tyreek Hill, which I don't think that's the case here. Yeah, let's see how it works out in Houston. Maybe we have a conversation next year, but I want no parts of that. And I like Stephon Diggs.
I do too.
I root for him like hell, but something fucking happened that we don't know all the details of yet.
Yeah, certainly. And that was the Comment Mailbag. This was District Divided, DC Sports Podcast, more specifically a Washington Commanders podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening to today's episode, a bit shorter than other ones. If you enjoyed it, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, comment as you always do, and the Reverend K-Dot.
Give me your tithes. We need to install some new pews at the church of JJ. And then share this shit.
We thoroughly appreciate you guys. After the pod begins right now. Okay, so the offseason program began for the team, and finally got to hear from some people, from some veterans on the squad like Tress and Terry McLaurin. Who would you like to begin with?
I think the comment that made me excited was Tress Way, because the Sam Howell shit from Terry, who gives a shit, he ain't here. The Tress, when he said that, like, they all sit down in the meeting room, and he told, like, all the veterans stand up, and they go find a new seat next to some of the new guys. I love hearing shit like that off the break, man. Like, I love hearing that. It's not Eric Bieniemy's yelling at us and we don't like it. It's, hey, go get ingratiated with your teammates. And it's just also really, really, really nice that majority of the questions the veterans got were football related, not ownership bullshit, not all the distraction and stuff. It's just, we on football time now, guys. It's just awesome.
It's awesome. I mean, if I could read one of the quotes from Tress Way. So again, this is in reference to him texting Dan Quinn, meeting Dan Quinn, and then talking about some of the new guys. And Tress Way goes, I see him, and you'll know who it is in a moment. I see him walk into the building. I'm like, that's freaking Bobby Wagner. And he's just approachable, smiling, humble, excited to be here. Same with Zach Ertz. Zach sits down first day. He and I just had some breakfast together. It is just so cool to see these guys. And that's an aspect of this as well. These guys are not over the hill. They're on, sure, the latter part of their careers, absolutely. But the presence alone is something that you can't necessarily quantify. That's freaking Bobby Wagner is a direct quote. Zach being in the building is going to make a difference. Like, this is important to that culture setting that we were talking about. Sam Cosmi spoke, and he said it's like when you went to a new team, just a breath of fresh air. Like, there is something new and exciting about the franchise right now. Any other thoughts on Tress Way before we move to Terry?
No, it's just, I think what you just mentioned as far as like the, you could see what Tress is saying as far as just guys in their presence alone and people knowing who they are in the league and what they're about makes a leadership. It's like it's leading by example already. Like, they don't have to set a fucking foot on the field for you already to kind of know, hey, this is a dude that I should listen to or pay attention to. And these are all dudes that, if you look at their history or pedigree, they are guys that you should pay attention to and listen to. And I can't remember a time in Washington, I'd have to really do some digging, where there's been guys like that on the team that have existed. Even your London Fletchers, right? Like, you look as far as like his true success level, like Super Bowl success, you got to go way back, right? So like these dudes are, they're proven. Zach Ertz is a Super Bowl champion. Bobby Wagner, Super Bowl champion. Like, these, like,
to that point, who's going to disagree with them on the practice field? Who's going to disagree with them in meetings? Because Bobby and Zach won't be the problem. Right. You will be. And so that is different from maybe a Jonathan Allen, who is a baller, but hasn't been there, done that yet. Wants to, but the pedigree that comes with those veterans, huge. And honestly, non-quantifiable. Go ahead.
And I think I heard Payne has his locker next to Bobby, which is
can only be a good thing, man. Right. I mean, like, that's awesome. It is really fucking cool, man. I love what's being built over here. It's exciting. It's exciting. And I'm also excited to the point that we were making during the comment mailbag to get this draft over with too. And just go, okay, these are our guys. Let's just go. I think that's going to be great.
It's just an annoyance of everybody, including you, with this tunnel vision shit. I just need us to get through this. I need to get through these steps. It's like I got to the end of the coaching search. It was like, can we just do this shit so I got to hear this crap? Like, that's all I want.
Hey,
I want us 3 steps ahead. I already know, regardless of whatever, we got to sell half the fucking fan base on them. So let's just get there.
Just looking at photos of JJ McCarthy, I just don't understand it.
I think we've hit your hard stop.
We have, and we appreciate you guys. We'll pick up on
Terry just wants Sam to succeed. Woo!
Hey, I believe in Sam. I also still believe in Sam.
I do too. I think it's a perfect scenario.
Good player. Yeah.
Geno Smith will probably not be. He will probably not be under contract by next season just because of the finances. And it gives Sam Howell a year to learn a system and potentially go be a starter. That's legit. Go have fun in Pacific Northwest, my favorite city in the country.
All right, quite a lot there at the very end. We appreciate you guys. Kate, I appreciate you for recognizing the time. I had lost track of it. We will see you guys next week. Take it easy.
JJ!
In DC, we're just hoping that you listen.